The doors to the courtroom creaked wide, and the noise reverberated through the air like a warning. Christine Brown appeared first. Head held high, eyes bright, but hands shaking a little as she gripped a thin folder. Behind her, there was a line of cameras waiting outside, their lenses trained like arrows. This was not another day in her life. Today was the day that she chose to face years of suffering before the world. Kody was already in the room, seated at the defendant's table. His face was inscrutable, half pride, half terror. The erstwhile confident patriarch now seemed to shrink somehow, like the burden of the entire Sister Wives clan had finally beaten him down. He slumped back, crossing his arms, watching Christine go by without so much as a glance in his direction. The air was charged. Even the hum of the air conditioner sounded anxious. Christine sat down next to her attorney, a woman named Lacey Turner. Young, calm, but fiery. Kody's lawyer, a gray-haired man named Rick Morrow, leaned forward and whispered something that caused Kody to smile faintly. That smile. The same one that had tormented Christine for so long. The same smile he'd reserve every time she wept, every time she questioned his decisions. But today she had proof. The judge, a steel-haired woman of middle age, came into the room, her gavel striking the desk. Court is in session. The case of Christine Brown against Kody Brown. Property division and emotional distress. The room fell silent, a soft gasp circulating. Emotional distress. The words lingered. Christine's attorney stepped forward. Your Honor, my client's not here for revenge. She's here for closure, and to expose the truth behind years of manipulation and lies. Lacey faced the courtroom. This isn't a divorce case. This is about emotional abuse, control of finances, and secrets kept from every wife in that family. Gasps again, this time, even from the back row where Robin clutched her purse tightly. Her eyes flicked between Christine and Kody, not knowing whose side she was supposed to take. Kody scooted forward, his tone icy. Your Honor, these allegations are unfounded. Christine is resentful because she couldn't manage plural marriage. Christine shifted slowly. I couldn't manage you, Kody. Her voice wasn't shaking. It sliced through the quiet like glass. The judge nodded to Christine. You can start. Christine opened her folder. Inside were spreadsheets, printed emails, and a tiny USB drive. She put it down carefully on the table. This, she said, is all he's been keeping from us. For years, Kody's lawyer was standing up at once. Objection! This evidence has not been revealed previously. The judge held up a hand. Overruled. Let's take a look inside. Lacey stepped forward, inserting the USB into a court laptop. The lights briefly dimmed as a projector flickered to life. The screen displayed a list of bank transfers. Huge sums of money transferred from family accounts to private ones in Kody's name. Christine stood there softly, nearly shaking. As we wrestled to make ends meet, while he lectured us about cutting back and sharing, he was transferring funds into hidden accounts with Robin. Robin audibly gasped this time. That is not true. Christine's gaze met hers. Then why is your name on 3 of them? Robin's face blanched. The courtroom gasped in shock. Even Kody's bravado faltered for an instant, a flash of fear in his eyes. Lacey stared at him. Mr. Brown, do you deny that these accounts exist? Kody paused. Those were family money. Christine's attorney smiled coldly. Then why are they listed under an Arizona address? The same address you purchased for Robin in secret. The silence was toxic. Kody's jaw set. His voice lowered. You wouldn't get it. I was guarding what's mine. Christine stood now, unable to remain seated. Yours? It was ours, Kody. All that we had worked for, all that we sacrificed, all that we raised. You said family was forever, but you were guarding yourself alone. The whispers filled the room. The judge demanded order, but even she couldn't suppress the slight scowl creeping onto her face. Christine drew a breath and addressed the jury. For years I trusted his words. He told me love was equal, that we counted the same. But examine the evidence. It never was equal. We were never equals. We were possessions. Her statement stung worse than any proof could. Kody's attorney struggled to answer, shuffling papers. Mrs. Brown, isn't it that you left the family of your own accord? That you chose to walk away? Christine nodded, unruffled. Yes. but before I walked away from a man who already had another in my place. Robin shifted uncomfortably, attempting not to meet Christine's eyes. The judge's voice was low, but laden with authority. Mrs. Brown, we will take further testimony tomorrow about these financial statements. Court is adjourned until morning. Once again, the gavel came down, but the tale was far from told. As everyone stood up to exit, Kody walked towards Christine slowly. The cameras were gone, but his voice remained crisp enough to cut through the air. You think you've won? You've just opened a door you can't close. Christine didn't even twitch. Maybe, but at least I'm finally standing in the light. She stepped out, the corridor beyond filled with reporters and camera flashes. Lacey bent in and spoke softly. You were good today. Tomorrow is when it gets real, when we have the witnesses. Christine nodded, her hands shaking once more. Tomorrow would determine everything, her freedom, her dignity, her truth. Behind her, Kody stood by himself in the vacant courtroom, gazing at the USB drive still on the table. His image danced on the black screen, a single man, among the specters of the women once his wives. The next morning, the courthouse buzzed like a beehive. Reporters lined the steps, microphones ready, waiting for a glimpse of the Browns. Christine arrived early, wearing a calm expression, but inside her heart raced. She wasn't afraid of Kody anymore. She was afraid of what might come out today. Because today wasn't about money. It was about truth. Within, Kody sat rigidly, muttering to his lawyer. His eyes flicked towards the door every few seconds. He was waiting for someone. Finally, when Robin entered, their eyes met, and for the first time during the trial, she didn't greet him with a smile. She strode straight past, her lips clenched tightly together. Christine noticed. She didn't gloat, but a sense shifted, a small triumph, silent and strong. The judge entered, calling the court to order. We will proceed today with witness testimony. Mrs. Christine Brown, please call your first witness. Lacey stood. Your Honor, the plaintiff calls Janelle Brown to the witness stand. A shudder ran through the crowd. Janelle, Kody's second wife, emerged in plain clothes, gaze fixed but far away. She swore in, sat, and refused to glance in Kody's direction. Lacey came over. Mrs. Brown, tell us about your experience of living in the Brown family home in relation to money control. Janelle deepened her breath. Yes, Kody managed everything, all the bank accounts, all the property deeds. We trusted him. I trusted him. But whenever we asked to see it, he'd say it was too involved. That we wouldn't get it. Lacey nodded. And did that ever change? Janelle's eyes went soft with pain. No. Even when I began making money myself, I still needed to ask for permission to spend it. We all did. Gasps ran through the room for the second time. Kody's attorney rose. Objection, Your Honor. This is character evidence, not relevant to the case about property. The judge scowled. Overruled. It goes to motive. Kody shifted, tightening his jaw. His foot beat out a frustration rhythm on the floor. Christine sat in silence, recalling nights spent sitting with Janelle, the two of them whispering about dreams. Those same dreams now resonated in Janelle's voice, shattered and resolute. Lacey leaned in. Janelle, what did Kody tell Christine when she asked him about these things? Janelle paused. He said Christine was jealous, that she wanted to destroy the family, but now I understand he was keeping something from me. Kody's attorney stepped forward. Mrs. Brown, have you ever actually witnessed Mr. Brown moving funds into hidden accounts? Janelle shook her head. No, but I've seen him lie about it. That's worse. The courtroom exploded. The judge demanded order. Janelle descended, shaken but proud. As she moved past Christine, she put a hand on her shoulder. Do what you have to, Christine. The next witness was summoned, one no one saw coming. The court calls Mary Brown. The room fell utterly quiet. Even Kody was frozen. Mary, the first wife, the one who'd always stood up for him, the one who'd weathered every storm with him, was making her way to the stand. Her heels clicked against tile with the rat-a-tat of betrayal. She took a seat, shunning Kody's eyes altogether. Lacey started tentatively. Mary, I know this is hard, but please inform the court what occurred the day Christine departed from the family residence. Mary swallowed hard. He didn't try to stop her. He didn't even look at her. That night I asked him if he was okay, and he said, "She was never really part of us." That's when I knew. He'd already chosen someone else long ago. Christine's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. Kody's attorney cut in quickly. "Your Honor, this is emotional manipulation," Mary interrupted. "Manipulation? You desire manipulation?" He informed me I was unlovable for years and I accepted it. I observed him give everything, time, money, love, to Robin, whilst all of us other ones became background noise. The judge's gavel came down. "Order!" Mary's voice cracked. "I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm doing this because I wish someone had informed me of the truth earlier." Kody's face grew red, his calm evaporating. "You're distorting everything. I took care of all of you." Christine got to her feet. "You took care of yourself, Kody." The judge held up her hand. "That is enough. Mr. Brown, be seated." The air was electric with tension. Court took a brief recess. Outside, the press thronged. Reporters yelled questions. "Christine, is it true Kody concealed more than $500,000? Mary, you're testifying against your husband for the very first time?" Robin covered her face, running to a car, tears in her eyes. Kody followed her closely, yelling something no one could make out. Inside, Christine sat beside Lacey, glaring at her notes. "He's losing control," Lacey whispered. "That's good news for us. Tomorrow we present the recordings." Christine snapped her head up. "The recordings?" Lacey nodded. "Yes, the ones on the Coyote Pass property meetings, where he promised equal ownership, but secretly recorded only in his and Robin's names." Christine leaned back, a relief and dread combination. "That could ruin everything," Lacey smiled. "That's the point." Later that night, Christine sat by herself in her hotel room. The burden of the day weighed upon her chest. She opened her computer, flipping through old pictures. Family smiling, children playing, dinners that looked contented but weren't. She closed it hastily, mumbling to herself, "Tomorrow I stop being afraid." The following morning, as she stepped into the courthouse, Kody was already there, sitting, waiting, his eyes dark and unblinking. "You don't know what you're doing," he whispered. Christine paused next to him. "No, Kody, you don't know what you've done." She strode past him without looking back, her heels ringing through the hall like punctuation marks to the story he never imagined would end. Within, Lacey sorted through the evidence. "Today's the day," she breathed. "Once the tapes play, everything changes." Christine nodded. She no longer felt afraid. She felt closure looming on the horizon, like a storm she had waited years to witness. The third day in court was a heavier day. It wasn't just another hearing. Today was Judgment Day. Outside, the media were all over, their cameras flashing like lightning. In the courtroom, it was so quiet that the ticking of the clock was audible. Everyone sensed something big was going to happen. Christine sat frozen, her hands interlaced tight. Her lawyer, Lacey, touched a reassuring hand to her shoulder. "Remember," she breathed, "truth doesn't have to scream. It just has to be heard." Kody sat opposite her, his own confidence shattered. His tie was loosened, his eyes red-rimmed. Robin wasn't sitting next to him this time. She was in the back row, her hands clasped tightly on her knees. The judge walked in, and they all stood. "We will continue proceedings on Christine Brown against Kody Brown. The plaintiff can go on with her next piece of evidence." Lacey stood tall, her voice firm. "Your Honor, today, we introduce taped conversations between Mr. and Mrs. Brown, recorded during the family property meetings at Coyote Pass." Kody leaned forward immediately. "Those were family discussions," the judge cut in. "Mr. Brown, you'll have an opportunity to react once the evidence has been heard." The projector screen flickered to life once more. The lights in the courtroom dimmed a little. Christine's heart pounded as Lacey hit play. Kody's voice dominated the room, detached but steady. "Hey, the documents will have my name and Robin's, but it's all for the family, okay? I'm just ensuring things are kept straight." Another voice, Christine's, sounded wary, begging. But Kody, you said every wife would have an ownership piece. Why are your names alone on the deed? Silence. Then Kody speaking again, softer, but colder. Because not everyone has earned ownership if they're not faithful. The room burst into chaos. Gasps, whispers, even the court stenographer's eyes widened. Christine's voice constricted. She'd heard those words before, but never thus, reversed, stripped of charm, ringing like confession. Kody's attorney stood up. Objection. This tape was done without permission, Lacey responded quickly. The recording was taken by multiple participants and recorded for documentation purposes, Your Honor. Absolutely legal. The judge nodded. Overruled. Keep playing. The next segment started. Robin's voice shook from the speakers. Kody, this doesn't sit right with me. You promised we'd be one family. Why are we keeping things secret? Kody's response was icy. Because unity only works when I'm in control. The rest don't understand leadership. Robin covered her mouth, her shoulders shaking. The courtroom buzzed with disbelief. Christine gazed at Kody, not with contempt, but with sympathy. He didn't seem to even know how much he'd uncovered himself. Lacey allowed the silence to hang for a moment before shutting off the playback. Your Honor, she began quietly, these tapes demonstrate not only intent to mislead, but a purposeful pattern of financial and emotional manipulation. The judge pushed her glasses higher on her nose. Mr. Brown, do you want to reply? Kody stood up slowly. His voice trembled, though he attempted to cover it with anger. This is a witch hunt. I created that family. I supported them. I gave them everything, and they repay me this way? Christine stood up. You didn't create a family, Kody. You created a kingdom, and we were your subjects. Her voice cracked at the end, but that didn't matter. The truth stood on its own strength. Kody's eyes blazed. You think you can kill me with this? I still have the loyalty of the kids. The room went still. Christine regarded him, eyes soft but slicing. You already lost their respect. You just haven't caught on yet. Robin broke her silence from the back row. Stop it, Kody. Please, you're making it worse. They all looked at her. Robin stood up, shaking. You said to me those stories were only temporary. You said it was for the family. But you lied to me too. Kody's face dropped. Robin, not here, but too late. She faced the judge. He instructed us what to say, all of us. Every time we challenged him, he informed us that if we spoke out, we'd ruin the family. I thought that he was telling the truth. I did not know that he lied to all of us. Kody's lawyer pounded a file on the desk. This is out of order, the judge spoke loudly. That is enough! Mrs. Brown, go back to your seat. Robin sank back down, covering her face. Kody sat frozen, staring at the table. The courtroom was electric, the kind of tension that could make a person forget to breathe. Christine took a breath and turned to the judge. Your Honor, I'm not asking for punishment. I'm asking for truth, for fairness, for the chance to rebuild what he tried to control. The judge slowly nodded, clearly shaken. We will adjourn today. The court will resume tomorrow to see financial forensics and final arguments. Her gavel crashed once and seemed to boom like thunder. As the courtroom cleared out, Kody remained sitting, blankly staring at the projector screen now dark. Christine double-checked her folder, hands again steady. When she passed him, she hesitated for a moment. He refused to look up, but she nevertheless went on. You could have told the truth years ago. You didn't have to lose everyone in order to prove that you were right. No answer, only silence. Outside, the sunlight was fierce, the air heavy with din. Christine descended the courthouse steps, surrounded by tumult, reporters yelling, cameras popping, but she felt oddly tranquil. For the first time, she didn't feel like a figure in Kody's narrative. She felt like she was the author of her own. Later that evening, Christine was back in her hotel room, scrolling through her phone. She opened a message from Janelle. Proud of you. Tomorrow's your day. She smiled weakly, then gazed out the window into the city lights. Somewhere out there, Kody was likely practicing his next step. But she wasn't scared. The truth was already out. Nevertheless, as she went to bed, one thing wasn't far from her mind. What if he had one more hidden thing left? Morning sun poured over the courthouse steps as if gold upon stone, but within, it was colder than it ever had been. The mood had shifted, Christine sensed that. Something in Kody's gaze let her know he was no longer coming to defend himself. He was coming to annihilate. He entered the courtroom first, walking faster than usual, clutching a thick folder. His lawyer followed, carrying a flash drive. There was a flicker of triumph in their eyes, a dangerous kind of confidence. Lacey whispered to Christine, "Stay calm. Whatever he's got, it's desperate." The judge entered, and the sound of her gavel cut through the murmurs. "We're here for the presentation of new evidence submitted by the defense." Kody stood up, adjusting his tie, his voice higher than normal. "Your Honor, the plaintiff has been accusing me of lying and manipulating. But today, I'm going to reveal the truth, that I wasn't the only one who was keeping secrets." Christine furrowed her brow. "What does he mean?" Lacey shook her head. "He's bluffing." Kody inserted the flash drive. The lights went down again. A video surfaced. Shaky video of a family gathering years prior. Christine was on camera, sitting alongside Janelle and Mary, ranting. "I'm finished pretending that he's the leader," she told the camera. "I'll do whatever it takes to get out, even if I have to hurt him where it hurts." Gasps were heard around the room. Christine stood still. She recalled that day, frustration, fatigue, but not the specific words. The clip was edited. Lacey jumped to her feet. "Your Honor, this video is edited. There's no context." Kody grinned. "That's what she said, Lacey. Direct from her own lips. She admitted she'd come after me." Christine's voice shook, but she stood firm. "That was after he said he was cutting me off financially. I was furious, not scheming." The judge jotted down notes, face impassive. Kody had more to say. He addressed the witnesses. "She made me the bad guy because it's easier than owning up to the fact that she wanted to control everything. She left, and now she's rewriting history." Christine's fists tightened. She wanted to yell, but Lacey made a soft warning. "Don't. Let him dig his hole." The defense attorney went on. "Your Honor, we also have text messages between Christine and another individual. Messages regarding selling family property without permission." He put printed screenshots on the evidence table. Christine knew them, out-of-context partial conversations. Lacey thumbed through them. "These messages are incomplete. There's no indication of criminal activity." The judge nodded but remained silent. The doubt hurt more than any insult. Robin rose from the rear. "Kody, stop it. You're distorting everything." He shot her a look of anger. "You think you know what's true, Robin? You only know what she said to you." Robin moved forward in spite of the bailiff's reluctance. "No, I know what you said to me. That Christine was unstable, jealous, and dangerous. But look around. Who's unstable now?" Kody banged his fist on the table. "Sit down." The judge's gavel came down hard. "Mr. Brown, one more word and I'll hold you in contempt." Kody's breathing was ragged, fury restrained. Christine sat quietly, observing the man she loved transforming before them all. The arrogance had been replaced by desperation. Lacey finally got up. "Your Honor, may I cross-examine?" The judge nodded. "Mr. Brown?" Lacey moved closer. "You claim this video demonstrates Christine threatened you. Did you make the recording yourself?" Kody hesitated. "No, one of the kids did." "And you touched it up?" "No, I fixed the noise." "So you concede to editing?" The courtroom hummed. Kody's voice broke. "It doesn't change what she said." Lacey smiled faintly. "In fact, it changes everything. Because context is truth." Christine exhaled slowly, finally feeling the tide turn again. The judge ordered the defense video to be reviewed by experts for tampering. When the session recessed, Christine stepped into the hallway. The noise outside was overwhelming. Flashes, questions, chaos. But what cut deepest was Kody's voice behind her. "You think you've won, Christine? This isn't over. You've taken my wives, my children, my name. But you'll never take my legacy." She turned slowly. "Your legacy isn't love, Kody, it's fear. And I'm ending it." For a moment, he looked ready to say something else. But no words came. He just walked away, shoulders heavy, ego shattered. That evening, Christine sat alone once more, this time not in her hotel, but in a dimly lit diner across from the courthouse. A handful of people noticed her but gave her wide berth. She had stirred her coffee listlessly. Lacey took a seat beside her. Tomorrow is the verdict, she said. You ought to get some rest. Christine nodded, but her mind was far away. I don't care about the money anymore. I just want him to stop playing victim, Lacey smiled weakly. You already told the truth. That's better than any verdict. Outside, it started raining lightly, patterning against the window as soft applause from the universe itself. But deep within, she knew that the battle was never really won. Kody had one final trick. He always did. When morning arrived, the courthouse was more packed. Reporters anticipated the verdict. Some felt sorry for Christine. Some still held on to Kody's charm. But within that courtroom, as the judge readied to speak, Christine was serene. Whatever came next, she'd already reclaimed the one thing he could never command, her voice. The day of the verdict dawned with an eerie silence, the sort that makes even the air feel oppressive. Christine stood in front of the mirror in her hotel room, fastening her dark blue blazer with shaking fingers. The clock struck 8:14 a.m. Within an hour, the judge would rule on everything, not only the case, but years of repressed pain, betrayal, and humiliation. She looked at her reflection. Her eyes were tired but steady. For the first time in years, she didn't see a broken woman. She saw a survivor. Downstairs, Lacey was waiting with a small cup of black coffee. You ready? Christine took a breath. I've been ready for years. They emerged into a chill breeze. The courthouse stood ahead, ringed by cameras, microphones, and curious faces. Reporters called out her name, but she didn't glance at them. Each step toward the doors felt like leaving her past behind. Inside, Kody was already sitting, frozen still, face impassive. No smiles this time. No smirks, just silence. Even Robin, normally composed, appeared pale, nervously fidgeting with her bracelet. The judge walked in. The audience was silent. Court is now in session, the bailiff said. The verdict in Brown versus Brown will be read. Christine's racing heartbeat pounded in her head. Her fist clutched a tiny photo concealed in her pocket. A photo of her and her children many years ago. It kept her focused on what this really was about. The judge started. Having carefully weighed testimony, evidence, and behavior, this court rules in favor of the plaintiff, Christine Brown. A room gasp went through everyone. Christine blinked in stunned disbelief. The judge went on, her tone firm but relaxed. In addition, the court imposes financial restitution and legal liability for the mismanagement of jointly owned assets under Mr. Brown's administration. This entails a separate audit and conveyance of property rights to the respective parties. Christine's breath caught. It wasn't about the money. It was the recognition. The truth. Out loud in front of everyone, Kody's jaw clenched. His attorney muttered something, but he didn't react. His eyes remained fixed on Christine, expressionless, cold. But not winning this time. Christine's lips quivered, but she didn't shed tears. Not here, not in front of him. Lacey put a soft hand on her shoulder. You did it, the judge rapped her gavel. Court adjourned. The room boiled over in whispers, motion, and pandemonium. Cameras snapped from the corridor. Reporters attempted to rush in for quotes, but the bailiffs restrained them. Christine rose, still trying to make sense of it. She faced Kody, slowly, deliberately. For years, she'd dreamed of this moment. She'd expected to feel revenge, satisfaction, perhaps even triumph. What she felt was something different, altogether. Peace. Kody, she whispered. He raised his head. Hope. You someday understand what love was meant to be. He looked at her, speechless. For the first time in years, Kody Brown, the man with the final word, was out of words. Christine exited the courtroom into the burst of lights. People erupted with cheers. Some wept. Others stood there, agog. But Christine didn't glance at them. She gazed upward at the sky. For years, she'd prayed that a sign would come, telling her that leaving was the right thing to do. Now she didn't require a sign. She was the sign. Later that night, Christine sat on her new home's balcony, swathed in a warm blanket. The mountains rolled across the horizon, and the sun was setting low, coloring all with gold and crimson. Her phone buzzed. A message from her daughter. Tears finally fell, the kind that cleanse, not break. Lacey called shortly after. "The media's going crazy," she said, laughing softly. "You're trending everywhere." Christine smiled faintly. "Let them talk. For once, I'm not hiding." She sat back in her chair, eyes shut for an instant. The evening sounds of crickets, wind, and gentle laughter from the neighbor's house felt like liberty. She considered all the women who'd sat quietly, fearing to go out, fearing to speak. And she understood that this was no longer just her own story. It was that of every woman who had ever been instructed that she was too much, too emotional, or too broken. The following day, Christine showed up for a brief interview outside her new residence. Journalists packed the driveway, but she was not anxious. One journalist asked softly, "Christine, do you have any message for your ex-husband?" She hesitated. The world leaned in to listen to her words. "Yes," she said quietly. "Thank you for freeing me." And with that, she walked away smiling. The video spread overnight. Millions saw her peaceful dignity, her quiet courage. Comments poured in. She didn't just win a case, she reclaimed her life. This is what healing looks like. Christine is living proof that silence can be power, and somewhere inside his mansion, Kody watched as well, his own image reflected on the black TV screen. He saw it all for the first time, as the world saw it, not a leader, not a patriarch, but a solitary man, entrapped by pride. He turned off the screen and sat in silence. The walls seemed smaller than ever. Days afterward, Christine had her family over for dinner. The table was full, laughter and stories and hope. Someone poured a glass of sparkling cider and held it high. "To new beginnings," they said. Christine smiled, her heart full. "To peace," she said, and as glasses clinked, for the first time in years she finally felt it. Peace not born of victory, but of finally choosing herself. If you had the opportunity to confront the person who shattered you, not to engage, not to harm, but to finally release, would you do it? Or would you wait just a little longer, afraid to see what freedom would feel like? This was the tale of Kody Brown, a woman who went into court to battle her husband, but emerged having freed her spirit. And perhaps that's the purest justice there is.